Well, we're back. The season started, and this is the first season preview, game preview, as I should say. Yeah, really excited for this one. It's going to be a really, really tough game, I think, Mark, Solihull away.
Oh yeah, we said in our Dragonheart season preview we both fancied them to be in the playoffs. They've finished the season strongly. They've got a good, solid sort of core of the squad that have been there a while and know what they're doing. And they have, of course, brought in some decent signings, especially up front. So, yeah, they're a real threat, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. And it's not a place that we really have much success in as well, is it, Solihull? So
100% right.
Yeah.
Won there the first time we played there.
Yeah.
Anthony Barry penalty. Since then, we've drawn 0-0 and lost there 4 times. Bobby Grant scored there 2 seasons ago. The only time we scored in open play in 6 games in Solihull. We really struggle there. And yet, at home, we've got a 100% record against them. It's a really weird one. If it was like, Truro, and there was a huge distances involved, I'd understand such a difference. But yeah, we're dreadful there and brilliant at home against them. So
well, let's hopefully this side can change our fortunes, really, because on paper, it's not the easiest one we could have hoped for, and they've got some absolutely quality players, so who's catching your eye?
Well, I think the new combination of Newton and Dallas up front are obviously the ones to watch out for. There's been a lot of media hype this week about Kyle Hudlin, the massive lad up front, who, because the angle's been Man City are looking at him, I'd like to give a bit of a warning over that sort of story. Of course, Man City are looking at him, because anybody who scores 11 goals in the second half of the season...
And 6'9".
Well, yeah, true, but particularly the goal scoring thing. All Premier League teams will be aware of him, because Premier League teams don't just look at the players they're thinking of signing; they're looking at everybody. They're looking. How do you think they find those little diamonds in the dust? Because they look at all the rubbish as well. I'm not saying Hudlin's rubbish, and I've got to say that the second half of the season was very impressive. But let's not get carried away with Man City wanting him. Man City are aware of him, just as Liverpool will be, just as Villa will be, just as Bournemouth will be,
Ipswich will be. You know, everyone's going to be looking at the football so in depth, and you can just get coverage at home now. You don't have to actually go and watch a player live. So they're going to have several scouts. Probably maybe 100 scouts. They might even have. They're just going to be sitting there trawling through all the leagues and thinking maybe we can find a gem, but. He's got extraordinary physical ability, isn't he? Being 6'9", being a professional footballer, it's definitely something we're going to have to watch out for.
I feel, this is going to come back to haunt me. I feel, from what I've seen of him, that there's not an enormous amount of special qualities about him, except the fact that he does get in the end of things and score. And a lot of his goals are more sort of scrambly goals maybe than anything that catches your eye. Having said that, let's be honest, you could argue the best attribute a striker can have is to be able to get on the end of things. I mean, Jake Hyde is maybe similar. If you look at his sort of goals, highlights reel, a lot of it is him being in the centre of the box and being, in a position where chances come his way. So if Hudlin has that technique, it may well be he's got a very, very good career ahead of him. But Newton and Dallas maybe are the pair. But the fact that they've got 3 players like that shows that they're serious going forwards. And Newton and Dallas will ask questions of us, because let's be honest, our defence isn't done yet, is it?
It isn't, and Dallas really caught my eye last year when we were playing Weymouth at home. It were him and I'd say Revan, who come in, really changed Weymouth's fortunes last season. So they looked awful, I thought, when we first played, and even though we went 2-0 down. But he's come in, he's an excellent signing. He scored 12 and 25 last year for Weymouth, so he's used to this level. And I think that's an absolute steal of a signing for Solihull, really.
Yeah, I think bringing in Preston at centre-back as well just adds to what's already a solid back unit. We all know about Kyle Storer, Maycock, solid midfielders. Joe Sparrow was excellent against us, like an attacking wide player who can drift inside. They've got threat, haven't they?
Adam Rooney as well,
Of course, Adam Rooney. Yeah, forgot about him. It shows how good. There you go.
And they brought in a full back from Sheffield United too, haven't they?
Boys.
Isn't
it? Yeah.
He was part of the under-20. Apparently, he's a big part of the under-23s winning. Sheffield United under-23s winning side last year. So Yeah, they've got danger all around the pitch.
He's got a good game face, that lad does.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the photo.
He looks very serious, doesn't he? Yeah.
He looks like he's about to kill somebody. He's holding up the Solihull shirt, and he's either very unhappy about how his career's turning out, or he's real determined. And in the interviews, he talks about, all I'm interested in is winning. And you think, oh, this guy's intense.
But I like
you
that.
never know with the 23s, or do you?
No.
I mean, you know.
But I like that mentality. Someone coming from the 23s and saying, I want to win.
Yeah.
And listen to the Solihull's club media, they seem to be pushing for League Two, and I think that's their goal. And they could be a dark horse, and they're going to be a threat. And it's either going to be a brilliant time to play them, or it's going to be a terrible time to play them. But in my personal opinion, including pre-season, they've not lost in 12 games, as far as I know.
Right.
So yeah, they're a team that's used to winning or drawing at the moment.
Yeah.
So let's hope the quality of Mullin and Hyde up front and McLinden and people like that can really drag us out, and maybe even with a shaky defence, we just got to score more goals than them.
Well, I mean, you were saying about being possibly a good time to play them before they gel properly, but surely they're seeing it's a good time to play us. Like you said, and our squad's not complete yet.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, and it's gonna be a really dangerous game. I would have been a bit more confident at Yeovil home over these away, especially with our track record.
I mean, we've got injuries. We don't know the extent of these injuries. I think it's probably safe to say Harry Lennon won't be fit to play.
Yeah.
Sean Brisley has been out injured for a couple of weeks, couldn't play last Saturday. Likewise, Rob Langton.
Yeah.
These are key players missing at the back. I mean, the back three of our last friendly game was a centre-back, a midfielder, and a wing-back, a full-back, playing as a back three, and our backup keeper, although I'm quite happy with Dibble as backup keeper. He did have one of his very unhappy experiences at Solihull, it should be said, when Jamie Osborne scored direct from a corner.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with Dibble. I've got no worries about that. But obviously that back three, bit makeshift. If say Brisley isn't fit.
Yeah, it is a bit makeshift, but until we get we may have some signings in between now, what we recorded, and then. But even then, they're not really going to make an impact against Solihull, really, are they? Because they're going to be brand new. I could be wrong. You never know, but it looks like it could be a makeshift back three. You're probably thinking French, Hayden, and someone else, really, isn't it?
Yeah, if those players aren't fit, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, the advantage of pinching players from the Football League is they are match fit, so we could throw them straight in. They wouldn't have any chance. We're recording this on Thursday evening, so they wouldn't have any chance to train with the players, except perhaps quickly on Friday. But well, we'll have to see. I'm not worried that this is a tough start, because A, the squad will coalesce in the next 2 weeks, and B, up front, we are going to cause problems. And with a capacity away end, because that away end sold out quickly, didn't it?
Very quick.
That I would like to think that when we're going forwards, that we will really be putting the game to Solihull.
Yeah, I think so. I think we have a great opportunity to win. I'm not saying that we're not favourites to win this game, but it really, the more I looked at them, the more I started getting a little bit more scared, the more I looked at their players individually. So, yeah, and we don't really have much footage. The only footage we have of them is from a pre-season. You got to take pre-season games with a pinch of salt, haven't you?
Oh, well, absolutely. And like you say, they got a good unbeaten run through pre-season, but they're not real games. Yeah. So, let's again see what they're like. But if you look at our pre-season, I mean, Curzon and Ashton, we didn't impose ourselves in terms of controlling the game as we'd have liked to against teams from a lower division, but we still won, and that's the thing with the Solihull game. I think we will have to tolerate spells of the game where we're under pressure. Although I think we could make up the extra midfielder with McLinden dropping in maybe a little bit more than he did against Curzon and Ashton, and that might allow us to play through the middle a bit better. However, like I said, when we then go forwards, I anticipate us causing them problems. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to look at the flanks, because can they get their full-backs up to support Sparrow and Williams when there's the threat of Green and Hall Johnson tearing forwards? Can we get those players forwards if we are, not quite, if we're lacking like a dominant midfielder? I'm not knocking Young, Davis or McLendon, but none of them are Danny Williams, for example, the sort of player who might be useful in a game like this.
Yeah. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. I'd love to see Dior Angus come on, because I think he's had an excellent pre-season. So we've got him, and if Ponticelli's fit as well, maybe then two come on if it's not going very well. We've got firepower on the bench. It's just, for me at the moment, it's just until we make those few signings, we're a bit vulnerable at the back. But saying that though, you never know. You never actually know, do you? So
it sounds to me like we sort of agree on what team is going to be without actually discussing it.
Yeah.
So we thinking if Langton and Brisley and Lennon and of course others like Redmond aren't fit, then I guess it's Dibble in goal.
Yeah.
French, Hayden, and probably either Jones or Record as the three centre backs.
Yeah.
And then wing backs Hall Johnson and Green.
Yeah.
Davis, McLendon, and Young in the middle.
Yeah.
And Hyde and Mullin up front.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. So
that sounds about right to me.
Sounds about right. And with those, if those players are out injured, then we haven't got that much extra to put on the bench. To be honest with you, Ponticelli wasn't there. We have no information. I assume he must have had a strain or something. He wasn't there last Saturday.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's okay to at least be on the bench. Because like you say, it's been great in pre-season. We had 4 strikers who are banging goals in. And if we got Angus and Ponticelli on the bench, it gives us options, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Hopefully they're on the bench. But even if just Angus is on the bench, I think he's looked excellent pre-season. Yeah. So it's really exciting. I'm really buzzing to see how this team's going to do, because there's been so much build-up, and it's just such an exciting time to be a Wrexham fan. But also on the flip side, we may not hit the ground running, so I think it's important to be patient with this team and let them gel.
I think that's key, isn't it? It's a really exciting time, but my excitement is what this team will become as the season develops, because there are still key players to come in. Yeah. If we can put in good performances now, and I think we might well be able to, because like I said, that attacking side of the team looks terrific.
Yeah.
So we may well be terrific, but if not, don't be impatient, please, everyone, because it'll gel, it'll sort itself out. We always are. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it now? Wrexham fans talking about Mansfield and Kidderminster that season when they both had bad starts and got a run going. Yeah. That often happens, doesn't it? Yeah. The teams don't start absolutely on fire. You look back at Wrexham's promotions, 77, 78, our best season ever, after about 4 or 5 games during the relegation zone. The 2002-03 season didn't really catch fire until after Christmas. We were up there, but we weren't imposing ourselves, and we had results like losing 5-2 at home to Rochdale. The 92-03 season really sparked when we got hammered in the first round of the FA Cup 6-1 by Crewe, and brought in Mike Lake on loan, and that was when it started to pick up. So we've never started fast and then finished the job off. Think about that 98-point season. We won 7 out of 8 games at the start of the season, didn't win it. So we've got to be patient, and this year more than ever, because like I said, we're starting the season with players not brought in yet. It is a bit like the 77-78 though, isn't it? Because then Dixie and Di Davis came in after the start of the season, and that was when it all gelled, and it could be a bit like that. So don't panic if Saturday is not us steamrolling a strong team away from home.
Well, yeah, and these are a really strong team as well, so they're going to be playoff contenders. So it's a really hard game to start off the season with. But I also think we have the quality up front just to actually steamroll teams this season as well. I think we'll see a lot of that this season, us steamrolling teams, because we've got the quality of Mullin and Hyde up front. When they're clicking, I can't see many people stopping us.
And then Green's movement.
Yeah.
That causes issues.
Reece Hall Johnson as well, bombing forward like he always does.
Clearly instructed to get early service in.
Yeah.
Because Hyde is a real predator, isn't he, I think?
Yeah. So we're saying if the things don't go right, don't panic. But it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I'd just like to say Safe travels to everyone who's going up. It's going to be a cracking day. It's going to be quite nerve-wracking because it's first game of the season is always nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah. Look after yourselves as well. Obviously, the COVID out there. Look after yourselves. Yeah. Can I go back slightly? We were saying about Reece Hall-Johnson.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be honest. When we brought Hyde in, it was before we brought Mullen in, and I thought, okay, he looks all right. I wasn't bowled over. He's got a good scoring record, not a spectacular scoring record, a consistent good scoring record the last 3 years. But something that very makes me happy is that when I've seen what's been brought in around Hyde, I'm now very excited about him, because he and Mullen just look like a partnership made to happen and made to work. The early service that Hall-Johnson in particular has been ripping in for the Hyde in the way that Hyde attacks stuff, you sort of think, okay, yeah, this is not like in there have been seasons where the work done in the summer's not planned out like that. I'm not going to name any managers, obviously, because Gary Mills is sick of being name-checked. But there's been some seasons where we've not put proper thought into how players will click in together. You can see very clearly here that Parkinson and Parkin have looked at Mullen's movements, they've looked at Hyde's movements, they've looked at what we've already got in the club in terms of being able to put service in, and they've looked at what Hyde would thrive off, and they've devised an idea.
Yeah.
Now, okay, some ideas work, some ideas don't, but this one looks good to me. And I just like, there's a really nice balance and evidence of team building in that part of the pitch. So I'm looking forward to us bringing in the players that will complete that in midfield and defence, so it all really clicks together. But,
it's going to be a very slow process. Believe in the club, believe in the manager. It's gonna be a real roller coaster of a season, I find. I think the National League's been the most competitive it's been for absolute years. So let's do it. Let's get on to this first game of the season, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Make sure you check out Dragonheart. It's going to be released on Friday. Check out all the official club media. Have a check out the new website. There's going to be plenty of stuff, content posted on there. So yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Adios, muchachos.
Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe as well so you don't miss out on any of our content, and click the bell to get notifications.